Ron Newman, a championship's brewing. Sweet 16. The San Diego Sockers are back-to-back MASL Ron Newman Cup champions.
You think I'm jumping out the window? I got
Tavon Morgan says, I ain't done. He's got his 5th goal of the game in the 3rd quarter.
For Childs, his header, goal!
Childs bends to the far post,
goal! It's Williams back to Pereira, his shot, saved by Pardo, the save of the year! And he's got Gutierrez, and Christian Gutierrez will shoot and score! Jordas with a step to the middle, to the left foot, still open, shoots, he scores! Charlie fakes around a man, shoots, he scores!
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League, streaming to you live on Twitch. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez here with you. Thrilled to be a part of your Friday early evening or late afternoon, depending on your point of view. It is Season 5, Episode 19 of the show, calling this one Shielded from Harm. Can't touch us. MASL Shield, back-to-back champions. Shields up. We can deflect all of the vitriol and negativity coming our way. Soccer staying positive on the good foot. 18-2 and the best record in the league. Mr. Jimenez, you're a busy man. How's life treating you, brother?
Oh, man. It's been crazy. I needed that pause there for a second. Sorry. No, it's good. It's good to be back here on Tuesday. Yeah, it's been a crazy time in my life right now with work and everything. But hey, we have 2 awesome games that we get to talk about, and man, a lot to look forward to as well. Let's get into it, sir.
Let's do it. I love seeing everybody in the chat. Want to say hello to everyone who's watching the show live. Also, hello to everybody watching the show on replay on our YouTube channel at San Diego Sockers. Those watching the Twitch replay on our at San Diego Sockers Twitch channel. I already saw S Barber 55 saying she forgot it was Tuesday. She forgot the show was on, but because she followed the channel, she got the notification. There she is in the chat on the show. That's how it works, folks. If you're here for the first time for one reason or another, make sure you click to follow at San Diego Sockers and know every time we go live. On the show tonight, 2 intense matches, 6 points, 2 shields for San Diego. We'll recap a busy weekend at Pechanga Arena. Our special guest tonight is Felipe Gonzalez. The veteran midfielder will join us to talk about his best season as a member of the San Diego Sockers and how he can keep it going. It was moving weekend in the league, Jerry. Critical matches that have truly shaped the playoff race. We will break it all down for you in MASL News. Plus, we'll look ahead to Friday's military night and another big jersey auction for a special cause. It's all coming up here on Soccer's Overtime, with the lovely melodious tones of Bobby Cressy's Beyond the South Bay drifting off into the background. You can find that tune and several others on his album Cali Native, available on iTunes, on Apple Music, or wherever you, Spotify, wherever you get your music, Bandcamp. Go ahead and set up Mr. Cressy. And here's a quick announcement, Jerry. Bobby Cressy in attendance Friday. He'll be there, not just sitting in a seat. He'll be there with the keyboard, ready to play the beautiful music for everybody. Can't wait for another night with Bobby in the house.
Absolutely. And you know what? I've gotten a lot of input too. Our DJ has been doing a great job, and our DJs just in general do a fantastic job. So if you're not in the arena, you should be in the arena. And having Bobby is that extra oomph that we need. It's always great to have him.
It absolutely is. Can't wait for Friday. We've got a lot to talk about. Again, Felipe coming up at the bottom of the hour. You know, I saw Suzanne asking, where's Craig's soccer's gear? First off, okay, got the hat on.
He has the background too.
Secondly, right.
Yeah.
Third, I mean, it's been cold, man. It's been raining. What's going on with this weather? I'm so tired of this weather. I am absolutely over it.
Me too.
Over it. I am asking right now the state of California for a mortgage rebate of at least 15% for all of this. This is not what we signed up for. This is not the sunshine tax that we all agreed to pay. But regardless, Suzanne, hang on. All right.
Oh, there's some more. Look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm not going to let you down. All right. I just had to have the little fleece on. It's chilly. It's chilly, rainy San Diego. Here in Tacoma, here tucked in the northwest corner of the United States, where it rains all the time. You know, you have to stay warm. You have to stay clean.
Yeah.
Suzanne, that was all for you. That was all for you, Suzanne. All right. Let's get into it. We've got 2 games to recap. We don't have all the time in the universe, and they were 2 big, exciting, intense MASL contests. So, Jerry, let's get things started with Friday night and with the Sockers and the Monterrey Flash. And I want to talk about the hidden story in this game. And it's one of the things I truly love about the MASL, Jerry. I talked about it yesterday on MASL Monday. If you watched Craig Child's post-match interview, he talked about it. The Sockers had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night at Pechanga Arena available to train. Those were the second, third, and fourth days all year that the Sockers had to train at Pechanga Arena, and they overtrained. In the admission of the captain, they worked too hard, they grinded too much, and they came into Friday with jelly legs for the Sockers and the Monterrey Flash. It took them 30 minutes to get their legs underneath them, and I just thought that was a really fascinating confession for the Sockers to make. It's something you certainly don't hear very often.
No, absolutely. And I think I hadn't even thought about that, right? I mean, that's not something that we usually would think about. I was totally aware that they would be at Pechanga Arena and have those 3 days where they can go in and actually practice, which is very weird to be able to practice at Pechanga Arena, but overdoing it. Had not even considered the possibility that was something that was possible. And here you go. You see it. That first half was just super slow. You could tell that they were trying to get their legs underneath them, as you mentioned. But you know, they picked it up. But that first half definitely showed that they were not 100%.
Well, this first goal is a perfect example of it. 4 Sockers chasing the play, no one able to get in front of the ball. Everyone just kind of going at the speed of the opponent, and a nice little push pass by Tovar forward to Gushi. Gustavo Rosales. I thought we were done with this dude.
Oh, we have commercials now.
How about it? Okay, that's interesting.
I hate you too.
Yeah, they need whatever money they can make, I guess. You know, tough organization, struggling. you gotta give it to 'em.
Right.
Yeah, stick around to support the channel, as the screen says. So yeah, you know, really good work. And honestly, Monterrey playing for their playoff lives. They look like so much of a better side than they did early in the year. I think it's kind of a classic story, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Monterrey, Chihuahua, Sonora. I feel like these Mexican sides get better as the year goes on.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, you know, this is not the Monterrey that we're used to seeing in other years. They are a totally different team. But yeah, when you go and face any Mexican team, it doesn't matter. I think that is one of those things that we look at. I mean, the speed, right, between all these players is it's ridiculous, and it's really impressive to see. And I have to say, I'm a big fan of this jersey that they wore. I'm a big fan of our jersey that we wore as well, Craig. This was a really nice kind of contrast too between the black and gold and the green and white of the Sockers this night. All of our graphics, as you guys probably noticed as well, we had some green on them. I was really excited to see it. It just really popped. It was a very aesthetically pleasing night on social media with all these kits and the graphics and everything.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Gorgeous kids, beautiful green. Maybe I was thinking in the first half, green's not our color.
Yeah,
when
right.
this goal goes in, 9 seconds into the second quarter, and it's 3-0, and
Not
our
too
dudes are getting
lucky.
tossed around. I'm like, if they come out in blue in the second half, I'm not going to be that mad at it. But as a matter of fact, it was not the uniform. But how about Chili Willy being in the stands? His first trip to the United States of America, his first trip to San Diego and Pechanga Arena, and I just thought it was absolutely awesome that Chili Willy was there. Now, maybe our director of tickets, Spencer Ishiu, disagreed a little bit when I brought it up in the office that week. She's like, why would the other team's mascot be in the arena? I'm like, well, I mean, it's Chili Willy. He's an ambassador to the world. But
He's
it was great to
everybody's
have him there.
mascot. No, he's so awesome. Like if you have ever met him, I think you'll agree with me. He's just such a cool person. Great to talk to. I had a really nice chat with him. I think you saw at the end of the broadcast, like him and I were walking together, and that was a really cool moment too to see that. Go back and see that. I think even Nate mentioned it, so it was really cool. I think he's just such a great ambassador, as you said, to the league, and it was good to have him in our house for once. It was nice.
It was. You know what else was nice to see, even though he was befuddling the Sockers, as you're seeing in these highlights?
Yeah.
Diego Reynoso. We've seen the younger Christian Hernandez in net for Monterrey, young kid. He's doing well, but Reynoso is one of the smooth keepers in this league. He's definitely a top half keeper, top 7 keeper in this league, and I thought he was dynamite Friday night, especially in that first half.
100% for this game. I think the goalkeepers really shined. There was a lot of goals, but there was a lot more opportunities that should have gone in. And both keepers, I think Reynoso did a fantastic job. I got to see him work from close up, and he's just so talented, and also part of what a strong effort this entire game. And we can talk about him a little bit more later. But yeah, just kudos to Reynoso who stepped up and again, I mean, Monterrey is a really good team, and you see an individual play. Maybe they're still trying to figure out some things, but I mean, they're there, and Reynoso is solid in the back for them.
Absolutely. This is a team that's come together. They've gotten significantly older as the year has gone on, bringing in Kalu Kalu, Victor Quiros, bringing in Gushi Gushi. Why do these guys have these amazing nicknames? Gustavo Rosales. But nonetheless, a much different team. And Sockers needed to find something to break out, and they get it on set piece. They get it with Craig and with Charlie. And while Charlie would take an injury later in this match that would keep him out on Sunday, it was great just to see. And you kind of knew it, right? You get one, the rest are going to follow. It's the Sockers.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see, and it took him about 35 minutes for them to get there of game time, but they got there. And with that goal from Charlie, it was like a deep sigh of relief. Okay, all right, here we go. Here's a comeback, right? And I think everybody kind of was waiting for that moment to be able to take a breath after that half, the scoreless first half. So yeah, I mean, again, Craig Childs doing what he knows how to do, gets the ball over to Charlie, and beautiful goal there. But then let's talk about this one, because my goodness.
Well, talk about team soccer and the Sockers peppering the goal and everybody touching the ball in a build-up sequence. And then Childs staying in the right place at the right time. And here is, the king of the cannon right when the ball finally comes back to him. And you see it's his 4th touch in this sequence. Left-footed. First touch, left-footed, dribbling it through. And it's not the quality of the strike sometimes. It's better to be accurate than it is to be powerful. And quite frankly, I thought in both matches there were times that the Sockers were trying to blow the ball through the back of the net and missing, whereas a simple little dribble shot like that by Childs makes it 3-2, and then it's Christian Gutierrez. But a great outlet by Irvin Mojica to get him the ball, to get the ball over the top to Golden Gutierrez. Gutierrez does the rest. Another self-Wallace scorer, bumping it off of his thigh and in. Incredible stuff. 3-3 Sox on a roll.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where, I mean, wonderful work from Irvin, and the young guys are really stepping up where they need to. But also, what a quick thinking there from Gutierrez to get that ball real quick. It was close up. I mean, he could have very easily lost that, but was able to get rid of it, bounce it off the wall, and continue moving forward, right? Like, he knew the play wasn't over until it was over, kept going, and then got that ball in. It's just a great Wallace scorer there for Gutierrez.
Outstanding stuff. Christian continues to be a star, but you want to talk about outstanding. And I got to credit my man, Nate Abarea. He saw the play develop. He literally described a clipped ball to the back post to Leonardo de Oliveira, and that's what happened. It's like he's been to the match before. Childs, clipped ball, this beautiful knuckleball floater. The technique on this, and I heard the guys on Two Balls and a Mic talking about it as well, Jerry, to come up and not put your leg through the ball, but to just chip it, to chip it with the laces, and it sends that little perfect floater. Watch it one more time here on our Twitch replay. Just a little chunk, like a little chunk, the side of the foot up to the laces, to get the ball to Leo. Leo extends the leg, does the rest. 4-3. Sockers have the lead for the first time and keep the lead thanks to a great play by Juan Manuel Rojo, as Pardo had to come out into the corner, and Eric Tovar was going to score the goal of the week, man. He had the ball looking for the pool cue angle shot off the sideboards and into the net. It was going to really be something we had to eat for a week or two in a row, and Rojo came up huge right there.
Yeah, and I think I was mentioning it to Chili Willie. I was like, man, Eric is pretty good. And he's like, yeah, he's doing all right. I'm like, what? Yeah, that right there would have been a great goal. But luckily, again, and this game goes to being, precise, to precision, and being in the right place. And again, just having that knowledge of where I need to be just in case. That's what ended up happening. And luckily, we were able to get that ball out of there. And we just kept it going from there, man.
How about this goal? This is one of the prettiest goals of the entire year. The Perez run is terrific. The Tavoy vision to take that touch to the right elbow there, and because right here he could attack, right? But he takes that one touch and the no-look back heel to recognize that Felipe is coming. You assume that Felipe made a noise or signaled to him in some way. We can ask him on that, whether he made some sort of verbal signal that Tavoy knew he was there. But just the overall teamwork and trust that is on display in this goal, it's honestly so pretty.
Yeah, and I think you actually chose that as your goal of the week, right, on MASL Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me.
For good reason.
Yep. No, it was beautiful. Beautiful back pass there, and beautiful finish from Felipe.
And, to me, the rest of this match is about Boris Pardo. Here's Pardo taking on a 2v1 that they did not execute, but he still, stood his ground to force them into the passing play that winds up not being beneficial to them. Boris just really sharp, some point-blank chances, but holding the line. And really, both of these matches, Jerry, you look at this one, and it was from 9 seconds into the second quarter until about a minute and a half left in the match that the Sockers shut out the Monterrey Flash. And of course, on Sunday, it was about a minute into the second quarter, and then the rest of the match shutting out the Monterrey. 7 minutes into the second quarter, and then shutting them out the rest of the match. So, kudos to Boris, big saves, but also just to the Sockers defense overall for doing a tremendous job locking these teams down.
Yeah, and these were two very physical games, right? Monterrey is a very physical team. They came in pretty hard, and so does the strikers. The strikers come in really hard as well, especially up against Boris, and he was able to hold it down And I mean, here we're seeing all the highlights, and the majority of these highlights here at the end are Boris. It just goes to show what a great showing he had for both of these games. And this one, just really near the end, kept that scoreline where we needed it to be, especially against the sixth attacker. Both games, having to do that is not an easy thing. So it was great to see. And, kudos to Boris.
And, of course, the clinching goal into the empty net scored by Christian Gutierrez.
There he is in the back. I got the ball rolling in, and then I got a message from Parker. Shout out to Parker. He's here in the chat too. But he's like, "Here's a video of a rolling ball." And so it's like, it was great. It was a great shot, and yeah, man. I mean, Gutierrez again.
At that point, it was his 13th of 19 goals in the fourth quarter or beyond. Monterrey keeps it up. They do get a sixth attacker goal at the very end right here. Esteban, obviously nothing Boris can do about that one, but just overall, really, really solid for San Diego, and especially when you consider just how bad that first half was. I'll just give an example. The Kansas City Comets played a really bad first half against Florida. When they gave up the first 4 goals of the match this weekend, and then they wound up losing that game. They made a little bit of a comeback, not much. They flopped, they lost, they went on to the road, they lost. Like, a lot of teams, when you have kind of a clunker half at home, it can leak out and become a recurring problem. And I think it's really impressive because the Sockers didn't have a clunker first half against Empire. That game was just a playoff-style game the whole way. But here, for sure, they had a clunker of a first half. And, I mean, when Phil Salvaggio was saying to a Melissa on the halftime interview, "We have no heart."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow. But I thought it was fascinating that in the post-match, he said it was very calm in the locker room, that no one was screaming and yelling, that everyone knew what they needed to do to get back into it and to kind of show their character as a team. And it's matches like this that really give you heart. They give you a lot of confidence about this club because San Diego has found every which way to beat their opponents this year.
Yeah, they're doing everything that they need to do to get it done at the end of the day, right? Which is what we are used to seeing. And it's just, this is such a strong team. And I mean team, like the individuals are great, but when they're together, they just help each other out. And fill in gaps wherever needed. And there's very few gaps, right? But whenever there is issues, we're able to come back. And this was a great way to show that and put it on display for everybody to see that, hey, we're not giving up. Yeah, you may have a game plan of like, let's put 4 on them, 5 on them early or whatever. And you can't, that's not going to be enough. You just can't think that that's going to be it for this team to lose. They were able to bring it back, and they've done it time and time again, and I'm sure we'll continue to do it.
So with that, let's advance to Sunday. Sockers win that one, 17-2, their record after the 6-4 win. And then they find out about 20 minutes before kickoff that Chihuahua had lost at Monterrey earlier in the afternoon on Sunday, opening the door for the MASL Shield. All the Sockers needed was 1 point, and, well, 22 seconds into the match, Jerry, that was up in smoke, at least temporarily, as Israel Cisse does the bump and run off Cesar Cerda here. Treats Cerda like, I don't know, a punching bag, essentially. Runs into him, thud, comes off, bounces off of him. Great play by Cisse, and a little bit of a shock to the system for San Diego, down 1-0 in the first minute.
Yeah, there's not much that we could have done there. I think that just told the team right away that the strikers were going to come in heavy and strong and very physical, and I think we already expected that, but it was immediately that we saw it. They had that opportunity, took advantage of it, and they're up 1-0.
And I thought the strikers set the tone for this match.
Sure, yeah.
Very early. They did so with physicality. There was, I remember, very particularly in the first quarter, a Jorge Pacheco 2-hand foul. I forget whether it was to Pollo or to Escoto, as to one of the smaller guys. But, right at the whistle, knocking him to the ground. NDI grinding on Tavoy. Just kind of like the usual stuff to set a physical tone. Sockers do get one back on a top arc from Craig Childs to Leonardo de Oliveira. And at this point, the first dozen minutes of this match, Jerry, to me, this is just classical indoor soccer. Two good teams playing one another hard. Sure, the fouls are hard. Sure, they're playing right to the whistle and maybe a little bit through the whistle. But that's what you want, right? That's what you want, and that's what you expect when two great teams and two rival teams get together. What we're about to get to on this highlight reel, and here it comes, is the inciting incident that to me changes the tone of the entire match. From this play, this is the poisoned tree from which all the rest of the rotten fruit falls, because it's a play in which Alan Perez has a wide open chance at the top of the crease. He blows a tire and falls right there. But now keep your eye on the man in the back. Maicon de Abreu sees the back of the shoulders of Iran Pollo Ruiz and simply throws himself off of Pollo. A completely cynical flop. He pretends that he's hit in the face. The officials are fooled. It happens. They award this free kick. Boom. Goal. Beautiful goal by Juan Tapete. Perfectly spaced between the wall and the post. But what Maicon de Abreu did right there, and you heard me, Jerry, I criticized it very strongly on the broadcast. I said it was an unprofessional act, that it's just deeply, deeply cynical. And I will stand by that. You can watch that replay a dozen times. There is literally no contact at all by Iran Pollo Ruiz. Maicon slaps him in the back and falls over. And it was bad. And what else was bad? The fact that the Sockers had to challenge this incredibly obvious handball on Frank Taillou. This is honestly, first week ref type stuff to call that. And what was bothersome is not that they missed a call and then used replay to get it right. It's that the Sockers had to burn their one and only challenge. And at this point now, this is like 14 minutes into this match, Jerry, already like 4 or 5 controversial things had happened, including the de Abreu flop. And you just wondered, what the heck is going to happen next? I just thought those two events, even if you pause the tape, like those two events completely changed the tenor of this match.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen it in person. First of all, that day Abreu was like, that was really obvious. Come on, guys. And then you see the hand ball. At the moment, from the angle that I was at in person, I couldn't tell. But then we saw it up on the Jumbotron. And immediately, everybody said, how this was so obvious. How did all the refs on the field miss that? And having to waste our challenge on that is just unfair. And I could see that some of the guys were just completely fuming about it, as were all the fans in the stands as well. It's just one of those unfortunate things. I think we continue to see some of these situations. What do you suggest we do about it, though, Craig? It's like it's part of the game at the same time. Like, I'm not trying to excuse them, but if we had some sort of better VAR where we wouldn't lose a challenge flag, I think this has been talked about, where, yes, if you win it, you get your challenge flag back, or something similar to, I don't know what it would be, but in this situation, it could really affect an outcome, especially against, an Empire Strikers team.
No, I think you nailed it, Jerry. It's as simple as the league needs to adjust the VR rules to state that if you have a successful challenge, you retain your challenge. And that if you have an unsuccessful challenge, that's that. Or you can do it the way the NBA does, where the cost of a challenge is a timeout. Hey, they're spending a timeout for a challenge. Okay, the call was overturned. You get your timeout back. I'm happy with either one of those. The way it's being done right now, it needs to change, because it just allows for poor officiating, and it forces each of these coaches into this poker match of, is this the one? Do I need to use it? Is there going to be a bigger situation later? When do I spend my chip? So it is frustrating. But Empire continues, builds the lead. Costa had a beautiful pass you saw to Cisse to make it 3-1. Costa is just a dynamite player, a tremendous attack player. But Sockers get it back before the half, and boy, what an important goal it was, Jerry, to see Tavoy Morgan on the board at home early in a match where he still has time to eat later.
Yeah, no, absolutely great to see Tavoy and see him dancing there at Pechanga Arena. Every time. It's just every time he brings it. And when it comes to being at home, I think the fans enjoy seeing that. That's part of, the watching the Sockers is also watching Tavoy Morgan dance. Like, we want to see more and more of that. So it was great to see it, like you said, early and enough time for him to do it again. So, yeah, I mean, a great first half, I would say, just from both teams. Like you said, it was a very intense game where we knew it was going to be physical. We knew it was going to be tough. Obviously, the score wasn't what we would have liked it to be in the first half, but I think just an enjoyable first half of indoor soccer all around.
It was, and it was what it's like we're saying. This match felt like a playoff,
Yes.
finals match. It had that intensity, both teams playing hard, both teams playing physically. And then you have to ask the question, what changed? What allowed San Diego to shut out the Strikers from mid-second quarter till the end of the match? And the answer is defensive pressure, Jerry. The Sockers did a great job of utilizing defensive pressure and forcing the Strikers out of a calm possession game. They've got a lot of futsal in them. They've got a lot of ability to hold the ball in midfield and have players make dynamic runs off of possession. And instead, here we see what an incredible moment strategically in this match. Sockers are on the penalty kill, on the Brandon Escoto penalty. The two-touch rule comes into play against Chris Toth, top of the arc, and the Sockers bring their free kickers out. They bring out Childs, they bring out Tavoy, two guys who do not play on the PK, and those two guys connect on the equalizing goal, Jerry. If that pass is blocked by someone jumping out of the wall and pushed the other way, it's a breakaway for a power play breakaway chance for Ontario. It's Uzi, right? If Uzi was able or had the quickness, which he doesn't, to get to that pass, then it's a potential breakaway goal for Ontario. But instead, the Sockers do a great job of negotiating this free kick and 4-on-5 scoring shorthanded goal, league leading third of the year.
I loved this goal. I loved it so much because, again, all of those things that you just said, and Tavoy Morgan dance. We get a second one. No, but it was great, and this was the equalizer, right? We needed that, especially going into this second half, and it happening when it did. It felt great. It said, okay, now it's our turn. Now let's bring it back. Keep it together. Obviously, what a silly mistake by the Strikers to do that second pass back to Chris Toth. And that's one of those that is apparently still affecting people. I mean, it's a very new rule still, I would say, for this season, and we were able to take advantage of it, especially on a penalty kill. It's just beautiful.
Gorgeous stuff. Now, Chris Toth, and I saw Joe Hutt in the chat saying, he should have worn an apron on the goal from Toth. It's true. Got to wear that apron to prevent the between the legs goals. But, Toth was honestly fantastic on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And so was Boris. Boris was terrific. He made all the big saves that he had to make. Both goalkeepers were good, but boy, the Sockers pressured the heck out of the Empire net in the second half. And there was a good period of several minutes, and you're seeing some of these saves where Chris Toth was just keeping Empire in the match with one dynamic play after the other, really controlling his crease. He's the most athletic goalkeeper in the league right now. There's just no question about that. But with all this pressure, San Diego keeps it up, gets it to the captain in a dangerous scoring area, and just a beautiful goal that got the double score out of me with Diabreu eventually blocking it into his own net. Really strong stuff, but you're seeing the build-up to it here, Jerry. I mean, the Sockers were truly pressuring the Empire net over and over, knocking on the door before they finally broke through.
Yeah, the pressure in this game was really impressive from the Sockers, and it's something they have to do. I think it's something that they planned on doing against such a strong Empire team, and as you mentioned, you have to be pressuring if you're going to get a ball past Chris Toth. And it was just great to see our defense do that. And actually our entire team just was always pressuring. Just so quick on all the decision making this entire second half. And it was great to see. I don't know, we mentioned it, was the Escoto penalty that happened with that, the penalty kill that we just talked about. So
Yeah.
is that now he's suspended because of that?
He is. So coming into the match, and you see the go-ahead goal there by Childs. What an incredible pass. Before I get to that real quick, Jerry, look at this pass from Leo to Cardenas. This is what makes Leo the best passer in the league.
Yeah.
Just that perfect outdoor style through ball. Toth again comes up with a brilliant save, but Childs is there for the second chance goal. But yes, Escoto came into Sunday's match with 1 blue card and 3 yellow cards against him. That's 4 penalty points. But also remember, he took a 2-match suspension after the February 8th Ontario game, and that counts as 2 penalty points as well. So he started on 6 penalty points, and the penalty he took was given a blue plus yellow for the severity of the foul. So he's up to 8 penalty points. That means he will miss Friday's match against Empire due to point accumulation.
Ay. That's rough.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Nonetheless, the Sockers can afford to lose a guy. And here we see, again, Childs to Felipe. Another incredible Craig Childs set-piece assist. It's really one of the stories of the season. It is.
He is on fire right now.
This was the 5th consecutive multi-point game for Craig Childs since he came on Soccer's Overtime, Jerry, and had the interview of the year. Since that, multi-point games every single game. Goal and 3 assists in this one.
Yeah, it's just beautiful to see, and it's great that, he's a man of his word. He came on here, he said what he was going to do, and it's happening. And I think he's even over-delivered on his promise that he'd had for us here on the podcast. So, yeah, it's great to see Craig Childs just doing Craig Childs things over and over and over, and I love it.
And by the way, I shorted him a game. It's 6 straight multi-point games. I just did the math in my head while you were talking. 6 straight multi-point games for Craig Childs. Empire pressuring the net, going to the 6th attacker. Great save by Boris Pardo on Justin Stinson. Stinson was heavy on the ball on Sunday. I thought that was something that helped favor the Sockers a little bit as well because Costa wasn't. And then you get to Golden Gutierrez time. It's the end of the match. The teams empty their nets, and it's time for Gutierrez to fill those nets. And I like it from Joe Hutt. Yeah, he wears the number 4 on his back because he's the king of the fourth quarter. Christian Gutierrez.
I love that. That's so good.
It's true. We gave the bet. We did the Eric Bergerud, who's going to be the hero on the show in the fourth quarter, and I said it's going to be Gutierrez, and then he scored 2 goals because that's what he does. He is the tip of the spear for San Diego's versus 6 attacker defense, as well as their versus power play defense. And of course, it starts with a great setup by Leo right there. Leo getting the job done, picking up yet another assist. 6-3 the score, a minute and a half to go, and then the 7th goal happens. Now, there's an argument to be made for what Christian Gutierrez is doing here. Because after Juan Tepete wearing the 6th attacker jersey was beaten, no one came to try and defend the Empire goal. And Christian stepped on the ball. He is ragging some time here, but he's also showing up his opponent. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. We are Sockers fans, but he's also showing up his opponent. Now, Chris Toth jumps off the bench, which should be a yellow card, to get into Christian's face because Chris was not on the floor. He was on the bench watching. So really, you could give both guys a yellow on this play. I don't necessarily think Christian deserved a yellow. Rich Grady thought so. But I did criticize this play on the air, Jerry, and it's simply because it's an extension of what you and I talked about last week on the show. And I wasn't going to be hypocritical, and I wasn't going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I want to see the nonsense stop between the Sockers and the Strikers. I want to see it stop being disrespectful. And we don't see it when the Sockers play Monterrey. We don't see it when the Sockers play Chihuahua. We see it when the Sockers play Mesquite and when they play Empire. Teams who have really taken it to San Diego from that, chitter-chatter standpoint, from the standpoint of trying to take it to the edge and over the edge, we respond. And I'd just love to see it stop and just to see Friday's match be a match that doesn't involve something that needs to get fines involved or the DRC. But I do totally see the point, and I'm seeing a lot of folks in the chat right now. S. Barber, he wasn't getting in opponents' faces, standing in front of their bench and taunting them. That's what we literally saw Ontario do in that 10-4 game. Pardo calls a timeout with 7 seconds left in this game. Chris called a timeout with like a minute and a half left in the February 8th game. So tit for tat, retaliation, you do it, now I do it. It never ends. You know what I mean? It never ends. There's always the person who did it last and the other team that wants to retaliate and respond. So I'd love to see it end. These are two great teams. It's really fun watching the Sockers and Strikers play, and I'd love to see the silly stuff stop.
Yeah, I can agree with that. However, I didn't see any malice behind this one specifically. For me, my angle, and then also talking to Christian after the game, I wasn't sure why he got the yellow from my angle. So I hadn't really seen what he did. I assumed it was something similar, and I was right. But he did say, look, there was still time on the clock. I was just trying to waste time. That's what I would do. I want this game to end. I don't want to give them any opportunity if I don't have to. Yeah. And I saw a chance to waste a couple of seconds, and so I took it, and that's what he did. However, yes, I mean, between these two teams, it's a little different, and so you do have to take that in consideration. I would say just in general, these two teams on the field are completely competitive against each other, competitive in general, but when it comes to Soccer's Empire, they want to beat each other. That is always going to be the goal, and it's a true rivalry. I think it's become a real rivalry between these guys, and also between us and them as fans. I think the fans in the stands really played a part this game too, to get into the Strikers' heads a bit. And I agree. And I would say that in all of this, like Chris Toth, I understand the frustration there, but that's a yellow to me for him doing that. If you're going to go by the book and you're going to give Christian Gutierrez a yellow, then Chris Toth should also be getting a yellow. I'm sorry, but there's no reason why he should have jumped out like that. And I mean, it's in the rule book, right? So if you're following rule books, and if you're going to give a unsportsmanlike conduct yellow, that's also unsportsmanlike conduct. So, let's be fair all the way around.
Hey, I think the DRC could have reviewed Maicon Diabreu's flop and given him a suspension for that.
Yeah. Yep.
I truly do. If you want to talk about disrespecting the game and you want to put side by side Christian stepping on the ball at the goal line, waiting for someone to challenge him and helping his team win a game by ragging an extra 3 or 4 seconds off the clock, or Diabreu slapping a player in the back and acting like he was hit in the face and drawing a foul, like, one is clearly worse than the other. One is clearly more cynical than the other. There's no question. But I just love what Kelsey had to say. Craig, they're just being goofballs.
Yeah. I mean, facts.
Just goofball behavior. It sure
Goofballs.
is. Let's talk to a man who's patiently been waiting in the waiting room. When we have 2 game recaps, we go a little slow, Felipe. I'm sorry. We had 25 minutes of highlights to get through. He is the veteran having his best season as a San Diego Socker, already up to 10 goals this year. He'll soon be over the 20-point mark as well. He is looking for a 3rd straight championship ring. Felipe Gonzalez is tonight's special guest on Soccer's Overtime. Felipe, thanks for listening to us talk about your 2 wins and your 2 matches. Thanks for hanging out with Jerry and I tonight.
No worries, Craig and Jerry. Thank you, man. Thank you guys once again for having me on here, and happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah, man, we love having you on, and it's been a crazy couple of games, obviously. So we're really excited to talk to you, Craig. Why don't you get it going here?
Yeah, let's get it started.
Oh, it's cold in this garage. Sorry.
Well, you've got your nice military scarf that we'll be giving away on Friday right there to help warm you up. Well, Felipe, let's start at the end. The Sockers win. Chihuahua drops a match this weekend. San Diego is the MASL Supporters Shield champion for the 2nd straight year. You've clinched the best record in the MASL with 4 matches to go. How much value do you find in the fact that not only have the Sockers won this trophy, but they've done it with 4 matches to spare?
Oh, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of value to it. It just comes to show the commitment that the organization as a whole, has basically put out there for us and to ourselves too. We came into the season with one thing in mind. The first goal, is to win a championship. Obviously having that shield is a plus, right? But we're going for the big one. We're going for the big one, and that's what we're here for. But it's good. It comes to show a little bit of the work we've done during the season, during the off season, during the preseason as well. I think it's a group of guys that we all have one goal. Where we all just want one thing, and it's one thing in common, and it's come out with a championship. I think the important thing here is that all the guys are committed all the way through. Everybody is understanding their role as a player, and that's what's kind of bringing that team together, and that's why there's so much chemistry. We us as players, as professionals, we got to understand our role, not to do too much, and understand what we're on the field for and why we're being selected to play certain games. So for us, it's great. It's important, and to do it with 4 games left is a huge plus. I mean, yeah, guys can rest if they want right now, just to be ready for playoffs. But I think the important thing is to go into playoffs 100% ready to go. And I don't think guys are going to want to take 2 or 3 games off. I think we're all going to still want to play these games, even though we already got that best record in the league for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, one of the things that we were just talking about, obviously, before you came on, is this Soccer's Empire rivalry. I think it's been going on now for a few years. When they were the Ontario Fury, if anybody thought that the rebrand was going to make it any different, is completely mistaken, because it is getting stronger and stronger. It's getting, more intense, I would say. And I think it's very important to say really quick that, I know that there's very good relationships between the players when you guys aren't playing against each other, right? But when it comes to being on the field, I kind of want to know how you feel about like the direction that this rivalry has taken in the last month, because it feels like it's intensified.
Oh, it has. It's that rivalry, in a sense. We're going to say rivalry for my quote unquote, just because they're our neighbors. But in reality, if you want to call it a rivalry, for me, a rivalry, I mean, it can mean different things for different people, right? But for me, a rivalry is when a team consistently beats you and you beat them, right? It's kind of like a even thing. But right here, it's clear as daylight that we got the upper hand regardless, I think it's been 2 or 3 seasons where they maybe beat us once or twice at most. And I think that's why it's been so important to them and why they celebrate the way they do when they beat us, because it's an important match to them, not just to them, but to any team in the league, right? They don't go to their calendars and say, "Oh, well, we got San Diego Sockers on this date." No, they circle it, and they think about it the whole season, and then they make sure they try and work extra hard that week before they come to us or before we come to them. But to be honest, you know what? Nothing taken away from Empire. These last few years they've done a great job of bringing in different guys and different players and making a difference, right? Making a difference in their organization, which makes our games tougher. To be honest, I'm not going to sit here and say we it's a walk in the park, because it's not. It's every team in the league has gotten better, and I think we all know that. So So it's part of the game. At the end of the day, it's part of the game. There's gonna be banter. There's gonna be talking. There's gonna be pushing. There's gonna be shoving. You know, some guys might take it more personal than the other ones, but at the end of the day, push comes to shove. If you're gonna throw it in someone's face, don't sit there and complain when they're doing it to you. It's plain and simple. Take it. Don't complain about it at the end of the day. You know, and that's I feel, to be quite honest with you, and I'm not here trying to point fingers or anything, but at the end of the day, that's what's been happening. You know, in that last game that they beat us, they rubbed it in our faces very well, right? When we lost to them 10-4. They celebrated every time they would block a shot, and it happened to me. I'm not going to say names. The guy blocked a shot, celebrated, even shoved me, right? I looked at the referee and said, okay, like, is that allowed? Like, you know, and at the end of the day, it just comes to show that little things like that go a long way, right? And
Build up, yeah.
I think honestly for us, you know, we know there can be a rivalry in a sense there now because, like I said, they're our neighbors and they've been getting better every year, right? They, you know, we beat them in a championship, right? And it comes to show that they're doing well. But at the end of the day, man, all the talking and whatnot is going to be done on the field. If you're going to go outside of the field and keep doing it, then you're already taking it personal. But like you said, Jerry, yeah, we do know some of those guys and we know each other. But at the end of the day, we're all here to compete for one thing. And when only one team can win it, you're not going to sit there and be the nice guy every time. You're there to compete. And when you compete, you want to win, right? So
Yep.
regardless whether you're my friend or I know you or I played with you here or out there, at the end of the day, if you're against me, if you're standing in front of me, I'm gonna make sure that I run through you and win this game. Whatever it takes. If I gotta put my body in the line, then that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
And of course, you've got some former legends that are on the Fury and guys that you've played with in the past, whether it's the Tayus or anyone else. So I totally understand your perspective on that, Felipe. Now, I want to take you actually back to Friday. We've got two matches to discuss, and we
Yes.
talked about it when we were reviewing the Monterrey match. But I just thought it was fascinating because, of course, you know, I get to go to one of your trainings during the week. I guess I could have gone to them all. It's been pouring rain. But you know, I was out there, and so you don't get the feel necessarily, but then hearing from Craig after the match, we overtrained this week. We got greedy. We were out on the Pechanga Arena floor. We wanted to use every single minute of it, and then we come into Friday with legs of stone, essentially, for the first half of the match. It's something that when you're watching from the outside, you're like, what the hell is the matter with the Sockers? Did they forget that there was a game tonight? Did everyone think the game started at 9 at night? But I thought that was just a really interesting and honest reflection on Craig's part. Do you agree with it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we went out onto that field. You know, once again, it's great to train on that field, right? It's such a nice field, big field, right? A lot of room, and I think a lot of it also has to do with players wanting to establish their starting position on the team, right? I think there's depth on this team to where if you're lacking at practice or you're not doing things right in a game, there might be a possibility or a chance that you might get sat out the next one. Um, so so yeah, honestly, yeah, it was an intense practice. We went hard. I think that was part of it. Guys trying to establish their starting position. You know, maybe we were a little bit excited that we were finally able to get a train on that field and have, you know, that big arena to be in and train in. So yeah, I agree with Craig, absolutely. Um, we might have overworked a little bit, and because of that same fact that we don't ever get to turn on the field. But for me, the biggest thing here is the fact that it was such an intense practice because of that. Guys are out there to work and win a position. And it's not easy, man. It's not easy to win a starting position out here. I think there's been players that come and go from other teams, and I think they understand that it's not always the easiest thing to come out here and put your foot down and make a difference. Um, but at the end of the day, we were able to get our legs out from under us the second half, and we got the W, which, to be quite honest, is the important thing.
You know, that's a good segue because We've been talking about this, just how impressed we are with the rookies coming in. Interested to hear your impression of Perez and Mojica coming into this team, and maybe it sounds like putting the pressure on and showing up and really adding to the team.
Oh, absolutely. Perez and Mojica, man, they came in and they threw him into Lions Den, man. They it wasn't just any small teams that they took him out there to start their. I guess maybe you could say, if I'm not mistaken, those were the probably first games in the MASL, if I'm not wrong.
Right. No,
Um,
correct.
right? Okay, see, perfect. And it was against Chihuahua, one of the strongest teams in the league, and Monterey Flash. And just the fact and the way they came in, and I felt like adapted in a sense, right? Um, was great. I think they knew what their role was. Like, I'm gonna go back to that. I think they knew what their role was, and they came in and did it. I think Mojica got a goal or two. I think maybe a goal in the Chihuahua game, um, and then I think Perez. No, he didn't get a point, but I know he played. He played well. They both played well. Regardless, they both played well. Um, both in Chihuahua and in Monterey, and since they came in, they kind of planted the seed a little bit, and they kind of made a little bit of noise and kind of said like, hey, we're not just here for 1 or 2 games, and when you guys might need the players because of suspensions and whatnot, we're kind of here to stay. We're here to stay and make make a name for ourselves. Sorry, and that's what they've been doing since that game 1 and 2 in Chihuahua and Monterey. Uh, the coaches have not removed them from the list. They've been on every roster since we've played since, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So it just comes to show, uh, if you come in with the right mindset and you're ready to go and you understand what your role is, then you're good to go. Obviously, little things here and there were as rookies they will learn as they train with us and as the years go by and as they get more experience in games, right? Little things that you can tweak that I mean, they're teachable and those guys are coachable, you know. So I'm ecstatic, man. I'm ecstatic that those two young players came in and kind of cemented themselves pretty well here and are doing good for the team. I'm absolutely happy with both of our new players. Absolutely.
And you know what, Jerry? I'm going to actually throw a follow up onto that because it's crazy, man. And Felipe, I've talked a lot to another rookie who's yet to cut his way into the lineup in Horacio as well, who's been training with you guys for the last month. And
Yes.
I've told him so many times, like, this is such a hard team to break into, but also if you get that chance, it is a team that you can find your way onto. I mean, a kid like Mojica, a kid like Perez shows if you come in and you show out, you can find a spot in the roster. If you come in and you don't show out, you're going to have a hard time finding a spot on this roster. So I just think it's really cool how there's that not only familial aspect that we talk about all the time with this team where everyone takes care of each other, but there's also that competitive aspect where, hey, you've got to fight for your spot, man. No one is guaranteed anything here.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's clear for everybody. Um, we all show up to practice every day and we make sure that we're not just giving 80, 90, 95, or not even 99% of ourselves, man. It's got to be 100, 150%. You got to give it all. You got to come out and work, and at the same time you got to have the right mentality and the right mindset to, if for some reason, I don't know, if you're not getting playing time or you're not getting selected every game, you got to go out and work hard, man. You got to go out and keep working hard, make a difference at practice, right? Stay a little later, whatever it may be. Ask whatever it is that they need from you. But like you said, Craig, if you do get that chance, right? Whether it's playing in fives, getting 3 shifts, getting 2 shifts, whatever it may be, one way or another, try your best to make a difference. And I'm gonna go back to the same thing. Making a difference doesn't always mean let me grab the ball and try and take on 3 guys where I shouldn't do it, right? No, that's not what it means. It's making the right decision at the right moment, knowing where you're at on the field, right? And just going all out, man. Going all out and listening and asking questions because there's plenty of guys on this team that have the experience. Um, ask them any question and they'll be willing and able to help you, right? So I once again, for the new guys and whoever decides or wants to come in the future, definitely come in with the right mindset, man. It's not easy to play for a team like San Diego, and don't let it discourage you if you get a little bit of playing time, whether it's here or somewhere else, right? It doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's here or another team. Don't let it discourage you. Keep working hard for what you want, and eventually, your time will come.
I love that. And making the right decision at the right moment, that leads right into what a beautiful team goal scored by yourself. That Tavoy back heel pass. Craig absolutely loved it. I think he gave it super high praise on MSL Monday, made it his goal of the week. And again, just the team goal, right? We're seeing a lot of these things. I've always wondered too, and not just because it's in the notes here from Craig, but because I've actually really wondered, how do you keep your composure? How do you not panic in a moment like that, right? Whether it's like a goal or a clearance, something like that, that you have to make a really quick decision. I would lose it. I would panic. I would not know what to do. How do you keep that, keep from panicking? And how do you just make things happen like that, man?
You know what, Jerry? I'll be honest, man. It all comes with time. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you don't get excited when you're right in front of the goal and you're like, "Well, I'm about to score. I'm about to score," and then you whiff the ball, right? Or you hit the net, or you hit the goalie, or whatever it may be. I think at the end of the day, it's just about controlling controlling your emotions, controlling your thoughts, controlling your feelings. For me, it's like my breathing and everything. Everything's included in one for me. Um, and kind of just zoning everything out in a sense and putting yourself in that position where it's just you, maybe the goal and the goal. Nobody else is around, right? And that's personally that's what I do. That's what helps me. I just kind of control my emotions a little bit, and yeah, there's a million decisions running in my mind right before I do it. Should I take a touch? Should I take should I shoot it first time? Should I go to the top? Should I go underneath? Whatever it may be. I think at the end of the day, whatever decision you make at the moment, follow through with it and don't change your mind, because then that's where you make a mistake, right? And you might take a bad touch, you might take a bad shot, whatever it may be, right? Whatever you have in your mind, follow through with it, and I think personally that's kind of what helps me out in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not gonna lie, yeah, there's this sense, this urgency or feeling inside where you're like, oh shoot, like the goal is wide open, or it's me against the goalie. Absolutely, man, that's always gonna be there. Yeah,
Yeah, I would always
absolutely.
be. I would freak out. Like, here's one of the things too, because it's not just goals; it's on clearances too, right? Where I'm like, if that was me, I know for sure, 100%, I would have headed that into the goal, and just continue to score own goals. Like and that's what I mean. Like, what decision? What am I making? What part of my head am I gonna? Where it's gonna go? Like all of that, and that's why we talk about this sorts of things.
and
It
and it
that's why
makes
it's a
sense,
special
Jerry.
skill. It's a
Yeah,
learned
and
skill.
sorry to cut you off. It,
No.
it it makes sense, but a lot of it does have to do with positioning, right? If I'm getting to a certain position where I think the ball's gonna be out, where I think the defender or forward, sorry, is gonna probably shoot at, and you get yourself in a good position, right? You're kind of anticipating what's gonna happen. Um, that also helps a lot, right? Other than when you're getting there super late, or you're being lazy, or you don't want to track your guy. Now it's a track me, and then you get there super late. So now you're sliding to hopefully not knock the ball on the goal, right? And you might end up doing it because that half second that it took you to realize, oh, I should have just gone a little sooner. That half second makes a huge difference whether you get yourself in the right position, or you're gonna get there late and either put the ball in the back of the net, or they just get a tapping, right? Yes, it happens to where sometimes it's inevitable, right? The ball might just ricochet out for you when you're diving, or you're sliding, or you're standing there. It's happened to a few. It happened to me already. It's happened to boards where it hits off the boards. Stuff like that is inevitable, unfortunately. But it's just part of the game, and you got to have you know uh, the right mindset, and just be able to push forward, and short-term memory, man. Short-term memory, because there's so much going on. You can't let it beat you
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Well, you know what, Felipe, I'm making an executive decision. I had written in the right through a question asking about you playing your best soccer and why you're at the top of your game. But you know what? I just remembered along the way, I don't mess with that stuff. Just keep doing you. Be you. Stay in the moment. Stay present. Don't think about anything. Stay with what you're doing. This club is doing the right things. You've won the Shield. You're going to get – here's the last thing I'll ask you, and we'll let you go. The Shield is coming to the Soccers on Friday. It is being FedExed by the league. It will be at the arena on Friday. You guys will have the chance to lift that Shield Friday before the match. And last year, the Shield came late, and it came in the postseason, and there was this whole kind of weird thing of like, do we even want to touch this thing? We're going for the cup. Maybe you want to leave the Shield over there, over in the corner. Are you excited that the league is doing this right? It's the regular season honor, and you're going to have a chance in the regular season to embrace that Shield and lift it up this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to be quite honest with you. I mean, whether it comes late or not, at the end of the day, it's already there. It's already written. San Diego Soccers, wins the Shield, right? We don't. It's a bonus. Yeah, we get a trophy or whatever it may be to kind of showcase what it is and what we accomplished during the season. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine with me, in my opinion. But to be quite honest with you, what's going to happen is, yeah, we're going to get the Shield. We're going to, celebrate it real quick, a minute or two. We're going to take a picture. We're going to put it aside, and our focus is going to be on Empire. That's exactly what's going to happen, right? We're going to take that trophy, put it in the back, put it behind us, and then move on to what's next, which is at that moment, the game against Ontario. And then in the future, the big cup, the big trophy, the Ron Newman. So,
well, I was going to attach arm straps to the Shield so that maybe Boris could have it.
Hey, I don't think he needs it though, man. I don't think he needs the Shield, man. He does. If he wants to use it just to show it off, that's fine. But to make saves, I don't think so.
Definitely,
you're right. Felipe, thank you so much, brother. Always appreciate your time. You bring so much insight to our Soccers fans. If you're seeing it in the chat, everyone is so appreciative of your thoughtful answers and of so much behind the scenes that you're bringing to help instruct them and educate them about the sport. Best of luck. Keep it rolling. We will see you at training tomorrow morning at La Mesa Indoor, and we'll see you Friday out at the match.
Awesome, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys have a good rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. There he is, Felipe Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love that guy. I mean, he just has the mind for the game, Jerry. I think he is truly, and I've said it before, but I think he's one of the smartest players in the sport. I think he's one of the most aware players in the sport, and that's why I didn't want to jinx him with asking him a question about how well he's
Playing
doing.
your best? Yeah, no, we don't do that in this podcast. That was smart. I appreciate that. Thank you for not saying that. No, but honestly, I agree with you, and I think that you see it in his answer and about the moment and making the right decisions. So we've said it before. The indoor game, it's so great because it's literally based on second decisions. Like it's a second flash, and you have to make a super fast decision. Because it affects everything based on that one decision. He said it, if you're 1 second late on who you're covering, it's now you have to make a new decision about how you're going to get that ball away from him, how you're going to defend, where you're going to place yourself. And yeah, I mean, we have the best of the best. Felipe is definitely one of them.
All right, we're moving on to MASL news. It's time to break things down about moving weekend from the Major Arena Soccer League. I'm going to grab my notebook, Jerry. I just realized I left it over there. So watch me leave the screen for 2 seconds. Watch me leave the screen for 2 seconds. Hang on.
He's leaving. Bye. Soccer's playlist. Ooh, Eddie Bear Eddie giving us a playlist for YouTube. Go and check that out. Go check out his YouTube page. Thank you for all the videos, by the way. Notebook.
This is my notebook. I keep all the notes in the notebook. I'm back soon. Oh no, where's Greg? Toy Runner says it's time to party. You couldn't even get the invite list out yet. Dad's back already.
Oh man.
Brr, here I am. So Well, you can hear me do a lot of this analysis on MASL Monday. I know for a lot of you watched the show already. If you haven't, you can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on Twitch. You can find a podcast of it. I actually don't know if you can find a podcast of it or not. But I really went through, Jerry. I went through every team in playoff contention.
Oh, my gosh.
Every one of their remaining matches, their current points, their possible maximum points, and tried to figure out, where's this thing headed? You know, and if it's headed in a particular direction, what are the matches that are going to be the difference? And here's what I figured out. So the single biggest thing that happened last weekend, other than the Sockers winning the Shield, the Sockers were going to win the Shield eventually. The biggest thing that happened was Tacoma took all 6 points from Mesquite. And we talked about it last week, that if either one of those teams swept the weekend set, it was going to change the playoffs. And this really changed the playoffs. Tacoma, while they're still technically in 6th place, Jerry, they've got 30 points now. They've got 4 matches remaining, and they've got Dallas twice this weekend. So if Tacoma takes care of business, like literally every other team in the MASL has done, and defeats the Dallas Sidekicks twice, then the Stars will be up to 36 points, having evened out with other clubs in the league in terms of matches remaining. You know how many points Empire has?
No, I don't.
They have 36 points.
Ooh, okay. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
So Tacoma can catch Empire in the standings this weekend simply by beating Dallas twice and having the Sockers beat Empire again. And if the Sockers win on Friday, let me tell you, Empire suddenly finds themselves in a very, very tricky spot. Because don't worry about Chihuahua. Chihuahua's got 2 home matches left. They've got Monterey and Mesquite at home. They'll win both those matches. They'll get to 51 points by the end of the year. That's where Chihuahua will wind up. But Mesquite is currently at 33 points, and they have 2 matches this weekend against Baltimore, home and away. Mesquite has been absolute doggy you-know-what on the road in the second half of the season, but they're still good at home. And if they beat Baltimore at home, where Mesquite is good and Baltimore is bad, guess how many points Mesquite will have?
How many?
36. Ooh. Same as Empire, same as Tacoma. Monterey, well, they go to Chihuahua. That's a tough match. They host us. Will the Sockers send a full lineup to Monterey after playing the Empire match Friday? Remember, we have nothing to play for. These matches don't mean anything. Will we send a rotated lineup to Monterey? The final 2 matches for the Flash are Dallas. The Flash played Dallas twice to end the year. So even if Monterey loses at Chihuahua and loses to us, if they beat Dallas twice, they get to 38 points. Okay? So you can have a situation going into the final weekend of this season where Tacoma's at 36, Empire's at 36, Mesquite's at 36, Monterey, they could still be at 32, but you know they're going to get to 38. And then you get to the 2 biggest matches of the year, which is going to be Tacoma, March 30th, same night we host Milwaukee, Tacoma playing at, Empire. And then the following Saturday, Empire playing at Mesquite. Jerry, if Tacoma beats Empire at Empire, the Empire-Mesquite match on April 1st could be 5 versus 6. Winner gets in, loser eliminated from the playoffs.
Ooh, that's what I wanted you to get to. That was a long way to say there's a possibility we might have a day that really matters. Wow, that's crazy. Well, so, I mean, every game has complications. At this point now, it's going to really get down to the wire. And, oh, man, that would be exciting if it got to that. So, 5 versus 6. Winner makes it. Loser goes home for till next season. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah. And I mean, look,
That's
Empire has
spicy.
lost 3 in a row. If they lose to us, they're going to have lost 4 in a row. They ended last season losing 8 in a row. You know, they had some closed door meetings after the loss on Sunday. Anything's possible. And this, I'll just very briefly go back to what I said at the end of the Soccer's Empire highlight reel. Beating Empire is enough. Every time the Sockers beat Empire, Empire loses their mind. Like, they tailspin. We don't need to do anything over the top of that. Like, beating them is enough. But, yeah, it's really, it's down to this. Can Mesquite get 3 points out of their Baltimore home and home next weekend? Can Mesquite get 3 points? I kind of think Mesquite is done. I kind of feel like they're a deflated balloon and they're going to lose every match the rest of the year and they're going to be 6th place.
Yeah.
But what if they win 3 points? What if they win their home match against Baltimore? If that happens, then the Tacoma Empire game becomes everything. And if Tacoma wins that match, then it's Empire v. Mesquite, and one of the teams misses the playoffs. I'm just really impressed with how Tacoma has forged their way back into this thing. And I imagine Nicky might win MVP. As a result, he's got a crap ton of points. He'll still be finishing 4th or 5th in the conference, which is how Nick wins his MVPs, is by dragging his team to 500 with a series of goals. I think Boris Pardo should be the MVP of this league. I would vote Boris 1. I would vote Childs 2. I think the best team should create the MVP. But the way Nicky's scoring and the way Tacoma is coming up in the rankings, I think Nick's going to win MVP. And I think Tacoma's going to make the playoffs. I would be, like, right now, I'm expecting us to play Tacoma in the first round. That's how I see it coming together.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's craziness. Yeah, but this, I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less from this league, right? That's just how it goes down here in the MASL. It's going to be really, really, really fun to watch. Now knowing that, you know, we're good. We have the Shield. We know where we're going to be. It's kind of playing. I mean, obviously, these guys still want to win. They're still going to give it their all. But watching other teams, too, just kind of, you know, go at it for the last remaining places, which is still, it's nuts to me that, you know, the only ones that have really clinched anything are San Diego and Chihuahua in the West. That's it. And so going into this next few games, it's going to be a lot of fun, Craig.
It's going to be a ton of fun. And I'll tell you what, the East is crazy, too. And just last week, I said on this show, on these airwaves, that I thought Baltimore would be the team to come out of the East. And I explained at the time that the reason I thought that was because Baltimore had enough home matches that they were going to win every match at home, and they were going to use that to climb over Milwaukee and be number 1 in the conference, and then they would win at home, and they would get to the championship finals. And then they go out and they lose to Utica at home this weekend. And just in that one result, Baltimore found themselves now with a really good chance to finish 3rd or 4th in the Eastern Conference. And now I'm off Baltimore. Honestly, I look at the matchups remaining, and I think Florida is going to win their last 3 games at home. They host Utica and St. Louis twice. I think they're going to get to 43 points. I think they're going to finish 2nd in the conference, and I think it's going to be a Milwaukee-Florida final. unless Gonzalez stands on his head. It's crazy, but that's why it was moving weekend. These results, Mesquite losing, Baltimore losing, it's completely changed what the playoff schedule looks like.
I don't usually use this word, Craig, but I'm going to go ahead and use it right now because it's the only thing that's coming to mind. It's bonkers. This is complete bonkers. We talked about Baltimore, and I'm right there with you with that last week, right? I was right there with you. We said Baltimore's looking great, and now we're looking at these numbers again, and I think Susan said it, correctly. You're gonna have to redo these numbers again on Tuesday.
I will.
It's crazy. And who knew? Florida, after just not the greatest, to put it lightly, of starts, now, being where they are, it's nuts to me. So, again, Milwaukee and Baltimore have already made it into the playoffs, but who will make it out? That is what's really going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, Milwaukee, and I see Kelsey talking about it. Milwaukee's grip on first is still not locked. Let me just explain this very quickly. Milwaukee's at 39 points. They host St. Louis coming up on Sunday. They'll win that match. They'll get to 42. Then their next match is Thursday at us. And if we beat them, they will have to pull a result out of Harrisburg on the last day of the season, April 2nd, in order to make sure that they win first place. Because like I said, they'd be up to 42 points beating St. Louis. Florida should get to 43. Florida should win their 3 games and get to 43 points. So that means Milwaukee needs a point out of the Harrisburg match. And will they? Probably. I mean, probably. But Milwaukee, like every other team in the East, they get out of their home arena and they don't look very good. And Harrisburg's played better at the end of the year. So the only thing I'll really say about the East is that Kansas City isn't going to win crap. St. Louis has no chance to make the playoffs. And Utica just started a little too late. They changed their philosophy. They got more defensive. I think they're a much better team than they were at the beginning of the year. But they're going to have a really hard time as like the 4 seed trying to win the Eastern Conference. But otherwise, I mean, I think it's those 3 teams, and it's who screws up down the stretch. Because once the seedings happen, I feel like the seedings are going to play out in the East, and the top seed's going to win.
Yeah. Again, this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to come down again to goalkeepers in this situation. I think it's going to be really important. If Baltimore wants to come out, it's going to be William Vanzella having to absolutely, like you said, play
You're right.
like a madman. So, we'll see what happens. I see Kelsey here trying to bribe. I mean, you're bribing the wrong people. You need to bribe the players. The chat is not going to lose the game. So
No.
you're bribing the wrong people. Just saying.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Kelsey, you're the best. Kelsey's coming out to the match on Thursday. Kelsey, make sure you run into us. We want to take a picture. We want to say hello. We want to see you. And Angus asks the question, what is the playoff format? The playoff format is best of 3 all the way through conferenced. So the way it works is at the beginning of the playoffs, Team 4 will host Team 5 in a 1-game playoff. A play-in, not a playoff, a play-in. Then you'll have 4 versus 1, 3 versus 2, best of 3 series, meaning start at the lower seed, come to the higher seed. If it's tied after 2 games, play the knockout game and get through. And it'll work that way in the East. It'll work that way in the West. We'll have conference quarterfinal or conference semifinals, conference finals, and the grand final. So that's how the playoff format works. And because the Sockers have finished 1, it means that for any team to win the Cup and dethrone the Sockers, they will have to beat San Diego at Pechanga Arena. There's no way around it. That's what San Diego has earned, courtesy of the MASL Supporters Shield.
Yeah, and one of the things I heard multiple players say that Shield does not matter. It matters, and they agree that, there's good to it, but at the end of the day, they just want to win that Cup. They don't care if they have to do it at home or anywhere else. That's where their mind is at, and I'm just so excited to see these guys again in the playoffs once more where they belong, and it's just going to be interesting who they're going to be facing off against. So we're getting there, man. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about previewing the start of the season, and here we are.
10 days from now, the season is over. 10 days from now, the regular season is over.
Crazy.
Yeah. 10 days from now, the Ron Newman Cup playoffs begin. And that's incredible. And as we switch to Soccer's news, let me start right there. Soccer's playoff tickets. Season ticket members received a message from Spencer via email yesterday, and season ticket members have exclusive playoff ticket purchasing priority between now and Monday. Okay? Monday at 10 a.m., playoff tickets will go to the general public. So if you want to keep your season ticket member seat, if you want to keep that seat that you are in for every match, you know what to do. Call Spencer, call Ezra, 866-799-GOAL. I see Suzanne saying she's got her tickets. I see Jody saying she's got her tickets. I see Johat saying that she's got her tickets. So tremendous. You can buy them in the strip. Angus says, I need to see the dates. Well, let me tell you a couple things real quick. All right?
It's going to be somewhere between April and May or June.
Yeah, correct. So we have been given by the arena a set of dates for the playoffs. But this new wrinkle of a play-in round makes things a little complicated because right now, for example, we have either April 9th, which is Easter Sunday, or April 11th, which is the Tuesday that follows, for our home leg of the first round. But what if whatever team wins the play-in game doesn't have an availability that weekend? It could screw everything up, and it could delay the playoffs. If everything works out, we'll have home matches in the playoffs on April 9th, on April 21st, and the grand final on April 28th, and the cup awarded on Friday, April 28th to the San Diego Sockers. But as has happened so many years, one team's arena availability that happens to advance could be the difference in pushing the final into May or pushing the first round date back or pushing the second round date back. It all comes together in kind of a chaotic fashion. And because most every team in the MASL is not the primary tenant in their arena, that's why you've got these uncertainties. It's not like the NBA or the NHL where people just know, okay, we've got the first hold, so it's going to be this or it's going to be that. Like, there's a lot of dominoes to fall, and if the wrong dominoes fall, it could affect the soccer's dates.
The one thing I'm worried about is not being able to be there if it falls on the wrong date. So I just hope that that's not the case. But yeah, this is just how it's, it just puts that extra burden, right? Having this type of playoff, the setup of it. And so, hey, we're going to do what we got to do. And we're going to do what we can with what we have. That's one of my favorite sayings. We got to do what we can with what we're given and what we have. So, hey, but we're in the playoffs?
Yeah, we're in the playoffs. We're the number one seed. We're good.
We're good.
Yeah, the version of that I've got, it's an Australian saying, Jerry, you get what you get and you don't get upset.
That makes sense.
But Susan is right. April 28th is what we have set for grand final night. That's what we have set for the second leg of the playoffs, the championship match. And without saying anything, I really, 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 really don't want that date to change.
Me neither.
I really, 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 really don't want that date to change.
Yeah, I happen to be available right now.
We've got some things lined up. We've got some things that can happen. We're excited. Something that just happened earlier this month can happen again. Put 2 and 2 together for the championship. And I don't want that date to move. I do not want that date to move. So let's all root for everything to come together and for the Sockers to be in the finals and for the grand final day to be April 28th. Okay. Friday is military night. Sockers taking on Empire for the 6th and final time. Want to tell you that right now, our jersey auction benefiting Military Spouse Association of Camp Pendleton is live. So you can either get, and I think they're really, really nice, that kind of sky bluish, blue digital camo player kit, or you can get the blue and yellow, more styled goalie kit. Same deal, live source auction. The Live Source app is open, and the auction is underway between now and 11 p.m. on Friday. Moved back 1 hour from last week. 11 p.m. on Friday is when the auction will end. And again, benefiting the Military Spouse Association of Camp Pendleton. So let's all be generous. These are gorgeous uniforms, and they will once again be signed, sealed, delivered. They're yours. So all of these jerseys will be signed. All of these jerseys will be sealed up and delivered to you, whoever wins, wherever you are in the country. So download the Live Source app. If you need to, if you're using a laptop, a desktop, it's desktop.livesource.app. And put your bids in. Get started. Get those bids started. Bidding is underway now. It goes till Friday, Jerry, at 11 p.m.
Yeah. Should I show him the scarf?
Please, because first 1,500 fans get this, so make sure you don't show up at the last minute. Grab the scarf, baby.
I don't know if you guys can you guys see it? Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, you're doing very, very well. So you got that Sockers, kind of the goalie style, the goalkeeper style on the Sockers cursive script. And on the Kaiser Permanente side,
Here,
honor and courage.
There we go.
Honor and courage, yes. And that's more of the player style camo.
Yeah, so
And
it matches the jersey.
Yeah, it really does. And that's for the first 1,500 fans that show up to the arena. No purchase necessary other than your match ticket to get your Sockers military scarf. It is presented by Kaiser Permanente San Diego. Great, great stuff. So make sure that you're there. You're all our fans. I know you've got tickets to this match. Make sure you bring some extra fans out. And also, when I say be there early, make sure you're there early because we talked about it with Felipe. MASL Shield, Supporters Shield ceremony prior to first kick between the Sockers and Empire on Friday night. Will the Sockers be able to lift the shield right in front of the strikers and make them wait and watch?
I hadn't even thought about that till right now. Oh,
yes, they will. Yes, they will. They will get to hold up that shield, show it to Empire, say, hey, thanks, guys, for helping us clinch this, and put it away. We are getting some of our top fans and supporters involved. A second MASL Shield. We are so, so excited for that. So make sure you're in your seats, plenty early on Friday. MASL Shield ceremony, military scarf giveaway, jersey auction benefiting Military Spouse Association of Camp Pendleton. One last thing about Friday's match. It is on Sirius XM FC, channel 157 on Sirius XM. Nate Abarea and Paul Doherty, Sockers legend Paul Doherty, will have the radio play-by-play starting, I believe, right at 7:30 on Sirius XM FC. So check that out. If you happen to not be able to go to the match, if you happen to be out and about, and you have Sirius and you have the Sirius XM app, the SXM app, or you have the satellite in your radio or in your car, check it out. MASL on Sirius XM FC, channel 157, Friday night. Sunday afternoon, the Sockers travel to Monterrey. They take on the Monterrey Flash coming up this Sunday afternoon. And I want to double check because I'm pretty sure. Well, that's interesting. It's listed, Jerry, on the league website as a 1:35 kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
However, Mexico does not go to daylight savings time. And the Monterrey match this past Sunday kicked off at 2:35.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to do math in my
at
head. Watch my eyes as I'm trying to do math in my head. Go ahead. I don't know how to do math forward and backwards in time.
So I think the match is at 2:35.
You think so?
I'm going to check with the league. But I think the match is at 2:35.
So you're thinking they maybe made a mistake and actually did the daylight savings by accident?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I will double check that. But either way, whether it's at 1:30 or it's at 2:30, I invite all you Sockers fans to be right back here on at San Diego Sockers on the Sockers Twitch channel, because we will be at Calafino Tequila's Sublimate Lounge, Tony Sanchez and I, with an English language broadcast of the Sockers and Flash. I've got Big Tony from Two Balls and a Mic coming on back to help produce and act as color analyst on the show. Now, Jerry, you haven't been Wally pipped.
I know, but I really
still love
appreciate
you.
this, by the way. I really do. I'm going to need it.
Yeah, because you are a full-time employee of San Diego Wave FC. Their home opener is on Saturday night, and you've got our match on Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, look, I have the Wave match too. I mean, I'm doing PA for the match, but I'm not doing as much as you. I show up a couple hours early. I read some stuff into a mic. It's fine. So Tony and I are going to handle Sunday. I'm going to give you the day off. You may still be on the hook, at least for a 3-man booth, if and when we play a Mexican team in the Ron Newman Cup playoffs in the first or second round. But English language broadcast, I see a few people asking, will Calafino be open to fans? It's not a watch party. Last time the Luna family kind of opened up Calafino, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, like, the door's probably unlocked if you walk in. We probably won't kick you out if you walk in, but it's not a watch party. It's not official. It's not being staffed. It's just a great place with a big video screen that Tony and I can use to announce the match. But while I think the Monterrey announcers do a terrific job, if you're looking for that English language call, if you're looking for the Sockers call with myself and with Tony, please come right back here Sunday afternoon, either at 1:30 or 2:30. We'll figure that out for Sockers Flash and the final road match of the regular season.
That's going to be fun. I will depending on how I feel, I might actually be able to make it, but it's going to be a hard ask of my almost 40-year-old body. Susan, I appreciate your comments. Kelsey, I hate you. Look, I'm getting old, okay? I know people say, "Oh, you don't look that old." No, I'm old. Like, maybe not on the outside, but on the inside, I'm falling apart, guys. So, I really appreciate the break. You and I'm Tony would be much better anyways. I'm so excited to hear you guys once again. You guys absolutely killed it. So, we just need to know what time we're looking at you guys on the screen. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Last thing I want to say, and we've got to do a post for this, Jerry, this week as well. Little production meeting on air. But
more work?
Eduardo, yeah, I know, a little more work. But Eduardo El Vaquero Velez had played the last 2 years for the Sockers, had trained and played for the last 2 years for the Sockers with a torn patellar tendon in his knee. And the condition worsened for Eddie over the course of the year, where pretty much every single time he trained, it would lock up after a half an hour or after an hour, and he would be over on Paul's training table. So if you saw Eddie, if you either saw his social post that he put up at the end of last week, or you saw him at the arena this weekend, he got the surgery, he got the major surgery, so he's got the big leg brace, all the way up the leg. He's walking on crutches right now. But El Vaquero, we wish him the very best. We say get well soon to Eddie Velez. And Eddie says he's not hanging him up. He's still coming back with the intent of being able to contribute to the Sockers next year in 2023-24. So get well soon, Eddie. Good choice getting that knee looked at. It's something for the rest of your life, if nothing else. An absolute warrior the last 2 seasons. And, Jerry, we will never forget that match last year, the hat trick at Baltimore.
My gosh. What a
Incredible.
game. It was great.
Just incredible. Did that on a bum tendon.
Ugh. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, Eddie, we love you, man, and definitely get better soon. And yeah, that okay, for that work I will take it. I will absolutely will do something for him. He deserves it.
Fair
He's
enough.
absolutely earned it. The least I could do is take an hour out of my time and wish him well on social media. So yeah, Eddie, get well soon, man, and good for you. Good for you that he made that decision to do it. So
I love Angus 619. Oh no, Velez. Oh no, Velez. You scored a hat trick on us with a bad knee.
yeah,
Oh no.
legend.
Absolutely love it. All right, that brings an end to tonight's episode of Soccer's Overtime. Great show, great participation. Really appreciate everybody for hanging out and making this part of your Tuesday evening. Once again, special thanks to Felipe Gonzalez, our player guest, who was patient to wait for us through two recaps and gave us some absolutely incredible insight into the show. Jerry, you and I will be right back at the arena Friday night, 7:35 kickoff. Sockers and Strikers. Again, Nate Abatea, Paul Dougherty on Sirius XM-FC. Jeff Hughes will join me one more time for the television call with the TVX video crew and Melissa May. So looking forward to that. See you all on Friday night, and then Sunday come back here for the English language broadcast of the Sockers and the Flash. Jerry, thanks as always, my friend. You're doing double duty for 2 teams this week. Really appreciate you and giving us this time tonight.
No, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. I would rather be here than anywhere else. Every Tuesday, every single week, 5 p.m. Thank you guys all for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks to everybody for being here. For Jerry Jimenez, I'm Craig Elston. See you Friday at the arena. Until then, have a great rest of your week, and go Sockers!